We have got lots of things we got to do today. Primarily, I'm going to focus on the in-floor heating because that was the project I kind of let dangle the other day. All right, part of the fun on this bad boy is to try to get it onto the table because I don't really want to bend down. I've been doing enough bending down lately. So the idea is to try to get this thing on the table without getting squashed by a tank. They're not that heavy. Let's see. The back's already kind of dented, so we'll use the back. We're gonna lift using our back in a twisting motion. Let's see. Get it to about there. All right, if you're just joining me and this is your first video, you're like, what the heck are you doing with this water tank? Well, okay, I'm gonna run it down to you. So this is an old oil-fired water tank. It's designed to heat water. The thing with oil is it's very expensive, and lugging oil around when you have a lot of firewood is a bad idea. So the plan is to take this water heater and turn it into a wood-fired water heater. And it's going to heat my in-floor heating. So what I need to do with this thing is I need to make it into essentially a fireplace. So I need to make it a little bit bigger than this. Like, you could feed wood in there theoretically, but it's not very big. So I want to make it bigger, like an actual door. So I can get some firewood in there of some dimension, and yeah, have it burn. So I gotta if I'm making an omelet, I gotta break some eggs, so they say. So yeah. So in order to make the firebox in the water tank, I first started by marking out kind of a hole where the existing hole was, and then I used an angle grinder, and I cut it out as best I could to kind of keep it square and even, because I want to fill it in after once it's cut out. So then what I did was I took a couple of pieces of plate steel, and I first started with the top. I kind of set it in enough so it would give me a little bit of protection for the insulation on the side, and then actually have it sticking out a little bit because I want to put the sides, so the uprights on both sides just went in after to support the door, and then I welded all that in place. I actually tacked it first, and then once that was done, I kind of figured out another thought was that I need some sort of ceiling, so I used a piece of angle iron and cut 4 pieces of that stuff and kind of tacked it in all the way around in order to give me like a channel so I could put a rope gasket once I find a rope gasket, essentially. And then once I was done that, I ended up taking another piece of plate steel, like 3/8 inch thick, and I cut it the size of the door with the plasma cutter, and then I welded on a hinge and attached it to the side. Before I did that, what I did was I actually cut the air damper in the front door, welded on a couple of screws and stuff like that, so I could actually have a handle, screwed on a couple of pieces of wood so I don't burn myself when I open and close the door, and that's it. That's the firebox, pretty much, done. So this is the damper. So this allows you to kind of open, so you have the door closed, the oxygen in. If you look inside, you can see that there is, you can't actually see inside. And it's because what I did was I took an old piece of steel I had laying around and made a baffle. Now the baffle is going to keep the majority of the heat off the door, so hopefully it doesn't warp. And it's kind of sloped this way because everything to do with a wood stove always slopes towards the firebox. So if any creosote accumulates on here, it just drops into the firebox, gets reburnt. And if you look inside here, you can see the channel. So there, I'm going to put a rope gasket in there, and that's going to seal against the door frame all the way around, so when it's closed, you can still have a little bit of air. So I've left a little bit of space so there's air still gets around here, but when it's closed, it's actually going to be sealed shut. And the good thing about this thing is if you want to control your heat, you basically, like if you want to shut it off, that's what you do. You're basically snuffing out the fire. You're still going to have a little bit of oxygen left in there, but if anybody's ever boiled water on a stove, it is not the easiest thing to keep boiling. Now, ideally, this thing never boils because we don't really want that to occur. Now, there's a couple of safety. There's going to be a couple of safety things in here. One is the pressure and temperature sensor, and it's set to basically release the water in the event that it overheats or if it overpressurizes. The other thing is going to be the cold side on this thing is actually going to be hooked up to that, which is going to be basically open to the atmosphere. So essentially this is a large kettle, and it can never pressurized. It could overheat, but like I said, you just watch it and you load the right amount of wood, and that'll never occur. Okay, so now we're at the point where we want to make the firebox a little bit more efficient. I left the insulation inside the water tank, and that's going to, well, insulate the outside of the tank so it doesn't get too hot. Now, I want all of my heat to refract into heating the water, so what I've got is a bunch of fire brick. Now, I saved these from an old wood stove. They're just, if you gotta buy them, they're about $6 to $10 a piece. But if you find them, that's what I do. I just end up kind of stockpiling. So that's gonna go all the way around, and I'm gonna put some sort of a ring in there. You can actually kind of see that's how big. Let's start at the middle. That's how big the firebox was with the oil. You can actually see the line where the color changes. So when I added the plate on the inside, that's the idea behind this thing, because I didn't want the fire brick sitting on the bottom. Now ideally, maybe I got to start at one side and just cut one brick. Ideally, they just kind of fit inside. What are the chances of that happening? That they all just fit? There was like a little break on that one anyways. Does anybody know how to use a pipe threader? I don't. Why do I have one, you ask? Well, because somebody gave it to me and they're like, here, you want this pipe threader? And I said, sure. I don't exactly, I'm not sure it works. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some extra pipe dope on that thing. And I don't even think you're supposed to put pipe dope on plastic. I don't think plastic pipe and metal pipe supposed to go together. You know what? It's going together today. And if that doesn't work, I'm gonna JB weld it. That's what I'm gonna do, that's my plan. Oh. I'm gonna say that's not gonna leak. And it's not going to come apart. That thing is well on there. Whew. All right, one less hurdle to jump over. Today we have a special guest. You may have noticed him on the last video, a little bit of an Easter egg there, but he's already in there warming up because we've got the cabin all warmed up. We've got Don's here. Don! Oh, he's backlit. You're always backlit. There, we'll go this way. I don't even know where to, like, where's the proper lighting? It's been so long since I've had two people in here. Let's go here. All right, we got Chris here too from the Wooded Beardsman. And yeah, so Don, you're coming to visit us from PEI.
That's right. Yeah.
A lot of people don't know where PEI is. PEI. Where's PEI?
It's on the east coast of Canada.
Okay.
It's
I knew that, but they didn't. Some of them didn't.
It's kind of between Newfoundland and Nova Scotia, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like it's east.
It's east.
East coast. East Canada.
Right in the Atlantic Ocean.
So a lot of people have been saying, Don, why don't you just stop by and give Kevin a hand every once in a while? Like, how long's the drive?
About 1,800 kilometers.
1,800 kilometers. So in American, that's how many hours?
I did it in probably 20 hours.
20 hours, okay.
20-ish. Depends on how long you stop.
That's right? What we measure in Canada, I was told. It's not, you don't measure in kilometers, you measure in time.
Yeah, so yeah,
time
20,
and miles.
20 hours.
So it's 20 hours?
It's almost from here to, it's a little less than from here to Florida, if that gives you any perspective. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So like, yeah, if you're driving south, but again, like, yeah, 20 hours. Yeah. A really, really long day or 2 days. Yeah. Comfortable 2 days. So, what you been doing with yourself? Like, what's your...
Well, just trying to get the new house set up.
You got it all set up? Like, you got pretty set up?
Pretty
set up?
Yeah.
You got the first picture hung yet?
Yeah, but it was just on existing nails.
Oh, existing nails. You know what? It's very important not to poke too many holes. Yeah. I've been at my house where I am for like nearly 10 years, and I don't think there's anything hung up yet.
But I'm waiting till I get everything...
Right.
Wood stove installed.
You're going to get a wood stove? You said you weren't going to get a wood stove.
I decided I would. So.
Nice. Well, you came at the right time because this thing just got installed.
And it's beautiful.
It's like the amount of heat that's getting thrown off that bad boy.
Yeah, I'm going to have to start stripping off here.
Yeah, I know. Like it's like I got a little bit of a thing. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour, Don, because you haven't been here in like, how long has it been? Like
we were putting the...
we were putting the beams in.
The beams in.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So no, it's come a long way.
It's probably like a couple months at least now. Like I can't even, like that was episode 1. We're at episode like 14 or 15 now. Yeah. So it's yeah, it's like 15 weeks really. See, I can't find things as readily when you're not here, Don. You usually hand me stuff. You're like, oh, you need a thing. I haven't taken this out since I put the new floor on. That's okay. I'm coming. It's going. There we go. That's future Kevin's problem. All right.
Oh, wow. So a basket.
It's an IBC tote, and then there's it's down 2 deep. So there's 4 feet. It's down 4 feet. So there's another tote down there that's protecting.
There's another one, right?
There's another one protecting the actual IBC tote, and then there's another one above it, so the ground doesn't collapse. And then I've got garage door panels all the way around, so the ground doesn't collapse. So it's all and right up to the top. And you can feel the cold. You can feel the cold air coming.
Oh yeah.
Right? So big shower, toilet. There's going to be like a little wall here, so you can have like a private toilet.
And how are you going to heat the water for your shower?
There's a couple of things rattling around. There's either there's the on demand, which actually worked really well for the outdoor shower.
That's what I was wondering.
So that might be like in a little house. So like on demand, just turn it on and it go propane, or a heat exchanger with a boiler system that I'm hooking on to this thing yet. I haven't showed you yet. You know what? That's future Kevin problem. We're just gonna leave that for now.
Looks like a frosty hole.
Well, that's the idea behind that guy. So that you can actually tell already just by having that closed in.
Yeah,
so
the frost formed on the wall.
Yeah, so this is the root cellar. The idea behind this guy is it's our fridge. So there was no frost in the other one because it's got the ground is exposed, and this one has no insulation on it. So like it's basically in the ground. You can go down there. Rachel would not go down. Just watch your coat on the sides. Yeah, so there's gonna be shelving down there. So like all the cold stuff, jams, maple syrup,
beer.
Beer, yeah, it's a good spot for beer. So I haven't decided how to tie that in yet, but that's pretty much.
Yeah, that's excellent.
It should work really good. I'm impressed that it's got the frost on it already. Before I poured the posts, before I set the posts, I actually dug that hole.
Oh, okay.
I worked smart. Used the brain there on that one. It's cool looking, right?
It is,
so the idea is, oh yeah, that's what I was gonna do. So I was gonna get a half inch or like a 3/4 inch piece of Lexan, and so you can actually see it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
once the floor is finished, put like a band all the way around. There's actually a band that goes here. It makes this look a little prettier. We've always had the problem with the fridge problem. It's either been like 12 volt with battery system. So this is out of one of the old campers that was at the scrapyard. And before they did like the demo derby on it, they're like, yeah, take whatever you want. So I took the rooftop unit and then this thing. This is a propane fridge.
Oh, propane, yeah.
It's not hooked up obviously, but this will go in the main cabin. Actually, it'll go here because we're going to do it as a kitchen wall. It's going to go on this wall here. Fridge is going to go beside the door, kind of like in there. And then you're going to have your doorway there. So the cabinets, doors, tray ceiling, probably pot lights in the ceiling because I don't really want to put anything in the ceiling. So maybe some wall sconces on those walls beside the fireplace. So this is going to be
through into the main cabin.
Yeah, so there'll be a door here.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There'll be a fridge here, and I don't know if the fridge and then the sink on both sides of the door. I don't know. Haven't quite figured that out yet. But the idea is to have this kind of just sleeping quarters and this kind of living quarters. So that's why I didn't really worry about heating in there because you kind of want it cooler to sleep. Yeah. It's going to be like toasty in here. You already feel it. It's toasty in here.
So this is going to be the living area. What kind of living area is it going to be? Is it? Are you going to have
like a formal dining room or something like that? I'm not sure. So the idea is probably like some sort of peninsula. Like this space here, like when you open the door, I feel like you should probably go straight. I feel like you want to walk straight. So like if you did a kitchen right here, you could almost have a peninsula, right? You could come in, hang your coat up behind the door or something like that, have a sitting here, like an area, not necessarily sitting, but here you could have a place for like a catch-all, like a round sort of area, and then you're kind of in your kitchen space here.
Or you got the table there, right?
Well, the table's going to come out of there, so like it's not. That's just going to be sleeping area. So I think probably once we get this sorted out, there might be something in the middle, like for dining, that's just like removable, or like a Murphy bed sort of dining table.
And how about a nice sofa or
love
seat here and
like an armchair or something like that, big like a cigar chair, just there smoking.
Yeah.
Because this is like ideal, right? You're sitting here and you get to sit.
It's a great place for a lamp with a armchair and a book.
I guess you didn't even see the roof, right? So
No, I haven't seen the roof.
The roof we did 2-inch garage door panels, and then I joined all the panels together. So it's basically just one monolithic slab, the whole thing. So I was able to put the ash on top, and then sandwich the panels on top of that, and then it's held everything down.
And
So
then steel on top.
yeah,
like
and then I
steel
put
roofing.
barn steel on top that from that barn.
Yeah.
And then I used liquid rubber on top of that and consolidated the whole
Are
thing.
you gonna have a cold plunge pool?
That's the new thing, eh?
Yeah, that's
I'm
the
not
new
a big
thing.
fan of cold plunge because, the pond is the cold plunge.
It's the pond.
That's
The pond.
Or the creek.
Yeah.
Yeah, go in the creek.
I did the cold plunge.
You did the cold
Yeah,
plunge in the creek.
I've done that a couple times.
Don every time we walk down there, Don goes for a swim.
The entire floor has been.
Yeah, everything.
Oh, okay, so it's not just the bathroom.
No, not just the
So
bathroom.
you've got heated floors all over.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, just like your house. And,
Yeah.
and I kind of, maybe I got that idea from your house.
The old original.
The old original. You can tell the heat differential. It's well insulated. It's keeping the heat out of here. But you can see how kind of cramped it is. This is the tool shed.
It seemed so big when it was first finished.
Yeah. Well, now it's just like like a third.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the plan is to just basically cut a hole there, and then probably put maybe a barn door, like so you can just close it, and then have a little bit of heat coming in from that. Obviously, like once the door's there, you'll get a significant amount of heat. Well, you have a wood stove at your house, and like
Yeah.
upstairs is always cooler. But the idea is to either have it should be okay,
Yeah.
but I'm probably gonna insulate this floor as well, because that was the biggest problem with this thing is when you had the wood stove on here, your feet would freeze to the ground.
Yeah.
Like it's so cold. The plan on this is everything either gets reused or repurposed. This is all going to come out, and then there'll be either like a bunk bed, so like a lower bunk, and then a mid bunk, probably at like either at the window level, so the people that are not claustrophobic can sit down on here, and then if you're claustrophobic, you can just crawl up a couple steps and you're up at this level, and or I haven't decided. They might go this way. Everything's up in the air, right? Like it doesn't really designing as we go, and then you still got the couple of beds upstairs. There's a couple people can sleep upstairs.
Yeah, because I could sleep 4 up there, couldn't it?
Oh, at least.
Yeah.
Well, it depends how like
Cozy you want to
the
be.
10 up there.
Yeah.
Now all we need is a place to put it, and I think this is a pretty good location. This is going to be right behind the outhouse. All right, well, I had a little bit of difficulties with this bottom thing because it has feet on it and it didn't quite fit inside here. So I actually had a piece of stainless steel round stock. It just, actually, that's a better fit anyways. More solid at the base. And moving it, I didn't realize that this thing isn't actually connected to the bottom of the water tank, which is kind of interesting. I thought they were just one solid unit. So this thing, in the event of, sort of deconstruction, it could be reused, which is kind of cool. And yeah, I didn't know that. So anyways, I got the rope gasket in. I've got the I actually put some gasket seal, which is like a fireproof caulking sort of thing. So then it just kind of just closes like that. And then I added a little piece here so my damper sits there. So like that's pretty decent. Now all I gotta do is load this thing up with glycol and see if she works. But I might change this to a elbow. So it's like just a straight shot to the cabin. I don't know if I have a shark bite elbow. The reason why I'm using shark bite elbows is because they don't restrict the water. It's like a straight 1/2 inch thing on the inside of there. I don't really have the expansion. Actually, I do have the expansion tube. You know what? I should probably just put one of those on. But yeah, all right, get some more parts. Get this thing loaded. All right, it's hookup time. I gotta just disconnect this thing. It's still pressurized. It's just under 40 psi. I wonder what 40 psi looks like when you cut it. Let's cut the feed line. Ready? Ready? Is this gonna be dramatic, or is this just gonna be like? There we go. It was kind of dramatic, wasn't it? Pew. As soon as I went pew, I forgot what I was doing. Return. So this is the feed line. Feed line. And I'm gonna make it really easy for changes on this bad boy because I'm gonna hook it up with a shark bite. If you've ever done a shark bite, there's like a little insert in there, and that's to make sure your plastic pipe doesn't collapse. I've got it on the one side. I don't have it on the other because it's going to copper. So there, it's that easy. But you know what? I didn't put my shut-offs on. Ah! Let's do this. This is the return line. This is the cold return. Go up here. There. All right, so this is how I'm going to put the shut-offs on. So this is the Wurzbo. I don't know if that's the brand name of it or it's just the way the type of fitting it is. But this is a little expansion tool. It's a DeWalt tool. And what it does is it expands the fitting like this, watch. It expands the fitting. And this one automatically spins so you don't have to rotate it. And then you have a little bit of time. Like I said, a little bit of time. You push this fitting in just like that. And what it does is it self-closes on it, and that's your fitting. It's really taken the skill out of plumbing. I'm sure plumbers love that. So that's just like another piece of PEX that kind of expands the fitting, puts it in, and then you don't lose any flow. You still got a 1/2 inch flow because that actually expands it. And that's how I'm going to attach it to the other side. And that'll allow me to isolate the line so I don't have to actually drain the floor system if I want to change my boiler system to like an on-demand system or like a different fuel system, or even if I want to tinker. I like tinkering, so I like to have the option of shut-offs. Shut-offs are good pretty much anything you have to service. So yeah, you can put the other end on and we're ready to rock. All right, it's fill time. I've got my pump. All right, so this is my 12-volt transfer pump. I've got the inlet hose, which is going to go on this guy, which is like the little foot, so it doesn't get all, there's nothing in there, but it still says to put this foot on. You know what? I'm not putting that foot on. I'm just gonna dunk it in the bucket. So this is the uptake line. It just says gallons. We don't know if they're US gallons or probably Canadian gallons, which is slightly bigger than the US gallon. Ha! All right, we should all do it in liters. So anyways, on a 40-gallon water tank, I want 20% glycol. This happens to be like some sort of aircraft de-icer that I happened to find. And it's 50% glycol. So I ended up adding 16 gallons to a 40-gallon. And then I went a little over because I've got more line in there. So it's probably, you know, good percentage because I'm looking for about 20% glycol mix so I don't freeze ever. And if I had the hose that was straight, I could put it in, just warming up the old hose so I can get it into my green goo. All right, I'll just push it down as it goes. And then what I'm going to do is actually hook up, this is just from an old washing machine. It's going to push through the floor and then come back around here, which is that's the hot side, and we're going to fill the tank that way. And then we know it's full when it comes out of the cold water side of the relief valve over here. Then we know it's throughout the system, and there's no like air bubbles in the floor because we're going to be pumping basically 35 gallons through the floor using this pump. Was that on? In the on position? It's on the off position. I'm going to hook it up to my tractor. I don't have a different battery, plus minus. Oh yeah, there it goes. It's already sucking air. There we go. Turns out my fitting wasn't quite expanded enough. All right, I think we're done fighting it. I think I got some sort of an airlock somewhere. So what I'm going to do is actually heat it up because I know warm glycol flows better than cold. So I'm just going to light fire and see if it just sorts itself out. I've got the pump still hooked up so I can actually run it in the event that it once it's actually moving, I can actually make it move quicker. So yeah, light fire and yeah, let's try this thing out. It's cool tool time again. I want to show you this thing. This is the KebTech pruner lopper thingamajigger. They sent me one a couple of years ago and they reached out to me again and they said, you want the new one? And I said, yes, because I loved it the first time. Now this isn't a paid spot. This is just a cool thing. You know what? If somebody's gonna send you something cool, you're gonna say, yes, I want it. So what's really cool about this thing is that, well, you don't gotta use your power, right? You gotta use just, it's plug in, it's got 21 volt battery on the thing. And what I like about this one, it's like new and improved. It's got like an ergonomic handle here. And yeah, you can really cut stuff in a hurry. This thing will do up to 40 millimeter branch size. So like look at, you want to pruning your trees, your apple trees, or making, I really like it because it makes really nice kindling. I have made a lot of kindling in my life, and this thing certainly does, helps it out. Anyways, but, and there's also like on the thing here, there's a battery, tells you the percentage. It also tells you how many times you press the button every time you turn it on. So like I'm at 14 clicks already, and yeah, it's so easy to use. And also, okay, so it comes with a couple of batteries. You just plug them in, charge them that way. What else is there that's on this thing? Oh, what I failed to mention is there's a extension pole for this thing. I did get it. I don't have it with me right now, but you can extend it. So if you want to prune branches that are really high up, you can do that. You just want to keep your fingers away from that thing, because that thing is crazy powerful. The link will be in the description below for this guy. This is the KebTech KT940. It is a cool tool, and like I said, this is the second version of this thing I've had, and the other one still works awesome. So it stood the test of time, which is really good, especially for something like this. Anyways, check it out. Link will be in the description. It's cool. Just want to see that it works first before I make it pretty. Usually this stuff just lights up like there's nothing. It's definitely gonna be a chore to get this thing started. I figure for the inaugural burn, we'll do a little bit of applewood because, well, because it's dryish, and it should keep a lot of heat in there. Well, the other day I had the opportunity to go with Chris over at the Wooded Beardsman. You can check out his channel. We ended up actually taking a trip to Cabela's Bass Pro, and we picked up a bunch of stuff. He actually went on a little bit of a shopping spree and got a bunch of travel gear that he needs to go. He needs when he goes to Panama. So that's actually I'm a pretty big fan of Cabela's Bass Pro too. Actually, most of the stuff I'm wearing right now is from Cabela's Bass Pro. I got my Carhartt hoodie. I've got actually I picked up some overalls, some like a bib. It was a redhead bib. How fitting, right? And yeah, so my Baffin winter boots as well is from Bass Pro. So anyways, I figured yeah, it was a great opportunity to kind of go hang out with Holden, Chris, Courtney. Everybody was there. You can check out their video on the Wooded Beardsman's channel, and Holden was there as well. He's got a channel as well. It was a good day shopping. It was tiring, but you know what? We got a lot of supplies. I got a lot of stuff that I needed, kind of like the winter survival gear. You know what? It's not just for you know playing at Bass Pro. It's also got some really good workwear too. So anyways, you can check them out. It was a good day. All right, we're here the next day. Yesterday I got a little bit frustrated, and I decided to just leave it and reconvene today to try to figure something out. So what the problem was yesterday was that, well, I got heat. The firebox worked great. It was heating up the water, no problem. The problem was, well, I think at least one of you guys is right in the comments, which says the 600-foot loop is a little too long. It's creating a little bit too much friction. So what's happening is I'm not getting a thermal siphon. Now, I kind of thought that wasn't going to work anyways. I'm not going to lie. That I kind of thought that. So what I did is actually I preemptively ordered a recirculation pump in anticipation of it not working. Because I was like, I hope it works. It might work. Who knows if it's going to work? Let's try it. Let's see. And anyway, so because of the postage strike that's going on right now, everything was a little slow. So I was actually supposed to get the pump last Thursday. And as it turns out, it shipped this morning. So my plan was to actually take that 12-volt DC pump and kind of managed to get it in here, but it's like it's garden hose to garden hose. So like there's not really, like when you're garden hose to garden hose, the fittings don't really match up with NPT, which is National Pipe Thread. Anyways, I don't want to get into that because I was like, I was gonna make it work. I was gonna make that thing work, and then I was like, aha! It finally came in, which is this guy here, which is a recirculation pump, which is designed for in-floor system. This is actually from Vivor, and if you guys are looking for a recirculation pump, I haven't tested the longevity of it. They're not a sponsor, but they have sponsored in the past. I bought this because it was so inexpensive. It was like 60 bucks or something like that. I've bought the Takeo ones or the Gronfast ones. Right now they're like $500, which is insane for a recirculation pump. Prior to the the big incident in 2020, these things were like $75 all day long. Vivor hasn't changed. Actually, they're cheaper than they were back then even. And yeah, so for $60, I'm going to throw $60 at it. And the idea when I plumb this guy in is actually I left this guy. It's basically going to screw into there, and Bob's your uncle, and it's just going to work. So I'm going to screw that in, and we're going to fire it up, and hope for the best. I've got my I got a temperature gun, a little laser temperature shooter thing, which is going to tell me the temperature of the incoming, outgoing. We're going to see what our delta T is. I'm not sure how to calculate that, but first of all, I'm going to fire up the heater because yeah, we're gonna need some heat anyways. I noticed that the actual temperature of the water is actually quite warm still from overnight, because obviously it wasn't recirculating. It is a hot water tank after all, so it is going to store hot water in it. So that's really cool. So I probably won't have that cold startup where all the condensation comes off of the walls of the tank and actually tries to put the fire out. So we should be good to go once we get our tank in. I'm gonna light the fire. All right, we're ready to rock. We got it all hooked up. We got that's on. This is closed. Bleeder. Turn this on. You can hear the glug 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 glug. Is that it? That's it? That's all the bubbles we're gonna get? No bubbles, no troubles, no leaks so far? I did put it in the right way. Oh! Originally the pump was gonna come out the other side, which is gonna be the hot side. We're actually pulling out of the cold side, but in the reality it's just gonna kinda thermal siphon. Everything's gonna mix together and it should be fine. What I wanna do is actually pull from the bottom of the tank. Now, you're probably thinking, wow, that's the cold side. Well, you know what? At the end of the day, it's all gonna mix around. And so yeah, cold side, because I don't want the water pump to actually starve for water. So it's gonna have lots of flow. It's gonna have a little bit of pressure on it because you want some pressure on it. So make sure that's open. Top side's open. This is still open, which is my thing. And let's try the pump. Let's go, we'll go on a high. We'll go on high first. Let's see. There, she's running. It's warm water coming out of that pipe. It's not like super warm. I can hold on to it. That's actually very comfortable water. That pump is basically silent. That's crazy. It says maximum head is 20 feet. We're well below 20 feet, and it says max 17 gallons a minute. That's way too fast for in-floor heating, but we're gonna just try to get some bubbles out of this thing. You guys can't even hear it. I can't even hear it. I can barely hear it. That's super quiet. Because you don't really want it to go fast, you just want it to move. The faster you go, obviously the lower the delta is going to be. All right, so let's see what we got. I'm just curious. I'll shoot this thing. 78 Fahrenheit coming out of the bottom of that tank, which is a comfortable 84, 88, 88 here. That's probably closer to what it is. 96 degrees. We're going to fire this bad boy up full of chips or sticks, or I'm gonna like hardwood something or other, and we're gonna get this heated. We're gonna get the cabin heated up. All right, so this is about an hour later. So what I thought was the pump running, so it was running, but it wasn't actually moving any water. So because I could feel here, and it was warm, so I did like a temperature set, and like that there on the little knuckle is 95 Fahrenheit, 97 Fahrenheit. What about there? On the copper side, it's 129. So what I'm gonna say it's 129. Like, I don't know if I can hold it. Can I hold it? That's about. It's on the edge of uncomfortable. So I would probably say that's about, we're going to say 124, 125, 119. I don't know. This is a terribly jumpy thing. What if I go closer? We'll say 125. So that's 125 on the on leaving it. So I'll tell you how I got this thing running. So what I ended up doing is going down to the well, and I grabbed the submersible pump. Now that thing's a crazy, really strong submersible pump. I've submersed it into the glycol, and what I did was actually I pumped it into here, basically ramming the water through the system, because what was happening is I kind of had like an airlock. I had bubbles in my line. I could see them going there. So anyway, so that thing was just kind of ramming. I had this thing open, which is the return line essentially, and what I had coming out this thing was almost a pencil width worth of water. It would probably fill a bucket in about, I don't know, it could probably did it like maybe a gallon a minute, maybe half a gallon a minute. So anyways, it wasn't coming out very quick. And then I was like, well, let's hook it back up. Let's just run it for a little while. So anyways, I when I was touching this side, I wasn't getting any temperature at all. Like, so nothing was coming out. Now I do. I have a little bit of, I have heat coming out of that thing. So if I look at this, so what was I was at 125, and here I'm at 80, 90. Yeah, well, 90 Fahrenheit. It's all over the map. So this thing's not the craziest accurate thing. So what happened, I think the internet was right. I didn't read your comments before I built the system. So I think my line is too long. I think 600 feet of pipe is way too long, based on, there was at least a couple people that said max length on your line should be 300 feet. So yeah, oops. I've got double that. So I don't think this pump can actually run. There, I'll get my face in there. I don't think this pump can actually pump efficiently the amount of water that needs to go through this thing. There's too much resistance in the pipe. I think that's called like head pressure. There's too much head pressure on this thing. Like I said, it moves it. Now it doesn't move it, I guess, easily enough. Ideally, I want to run the pump on low. I've got it on high right now, and it's just coming out like almost like a leaky tap, like trickling. So anyways, this is the coldest, and what do we got? Doesn't seem right. 122 Fahrenheit. Maybe it's okay. 124. 124 Fahrenheit. Like, my knee's warm. It's on the pipe. That's actually, huh. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's getting better. I don't know. I gotta run it another day or something just to make sure. All right, well, guess that's something. Does it work? Yes. Does it work the way I want it? Not really. We're gonna say this is like a task failed successfully, but it could be done better. So yeah, you'll have to tune in next time, where I'm gonna revisit this thing, make it more efficient, and make it exactly the way I want. Maybe I'll pretty up my pipes a little bit, because like obviously I don't want them running just through the forest like that. I need to insulate them. That we're getting water. Like I said, I want to do a cold start, test it out again. So anyways, you have to join me again next time. So we'll see how, if I changed it, if I got a solution to the problem, or maybe it's not a problem. So I have to tune in next week. We'll try it again and go from there. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and join me on the next one.